Hey guys, this is the Husker Rundown. I'm Connor O'Gara. Nebraska gets a 42-24 victory against Rutgers today. First time those teams are facing off in just kind of a weird Big Ten matchup, and really a game in which Nebraska held the advantage throughout. I thought that was something that Nebraska needed to come out and do at home. You don't want to have any sort of letdown game against a team that you're supposed to take care of. If you talk about running the table in the Big Ten, you got to be able to come out and win comfortably in a game like this. But at the same time, Nebraska wins this game by 18 points, probably about where many would have predicted this. But Bo Pelini was not happy afterwards. This is the difference between watching a show like Husker Rundown, where I'm actually at the press conferences, compared to somebody who's sitting at home, who's just basically doing a video recap from their bedroom. Bo Pelini, not a happy camper. Was not pleased with his team's performance. Called it sloppy. He used the word sloppy repeatedly, probably 4 or 5 times, talking about his team's performance in every phase of the game, with the exception of what Ameer Abdullah was able to do. Obviously, and we'll get to that later. This was a game that he was not satisfied with. This is a team that he expected to be up like this in this amount, but some of the penalties and I think some of the defensive lapses really stuck with him. He had obviously the awful pick by Tommy Armstrong, a play that he definitely wanted back, which had absolutely no chance. That's becoming kind of a theme with Tommy Armstrong, I think. Just seems to have a few plays a game where you just scratch your head and you just go, what? What are you doing? What are you doing, kid? But no, Armstrong able to kind of rebound, at least in the second half, but still many holes in that side of the game. Just many holes all around. Yes, Nebraska is able to come away with this handily, but I don't think it was in the fashion that Pelini wanted. I think things kind of got a little bit loose at the end, just did not have the defensive game that he wanted to see. I think he wanted to see Nebraska really build off of what it did last weekend in Northwestern, which was stymie the Wildcats all second half, and just didn't have that same energy. I thought Ameer Abdullah used a really nice phrase to kind of summarize what they did in the second quarter, and that was take a deep breath. He said he can't afford to take a deep breath in the second quarter, and he's exactly right. That you got a team like that at home. You got a position to put them away, and Ameer did probably, if Nebraska had played the way that it was early on, Ameer doesn't have to play in the second half of that one, or at least much after the first series of the second half. And I just thought it was very telling to see Ameer and Bo both come out post game and say, you know what, this isn't good enough. And they're exactly right. If you're talking about doing all of these things, about getting to play in a Big Ten championship, going up to Camp Randall, beating Wisconsin, you need to look better than you do in a game like this. So for the Nebraska fans that are going to walk away thinking, oh yeah, just another great victory, maybe not so fast. So I thought that was a really interesting thing. Obviously, Ameer Abdullah, what more can you say about the guy? He is going to be second, I believe, second in the nation in rushing after this week, after all the games are wrapped up today. He just had a monster game, set the Nebraska single game record for all-purpose yards. He finishes this one with a total of 341 all-purpose yards. Absolutely incredible performance. Had big 53-yard, 48-yard touchdown runs that really got this Nebraska offense going. And you talk about playmakers in this offense, and Kenny Bell also getting in the record books. He becomes the Nebraska all-time receptions leader. Something that I kind of slipped past me. I guess I didn't even realize he was getting to that point. But had another nice day. Stayed healthy too. That's something really important. Yeah, these games are comfortable wins, but you need to make sure you're keeping everybody healthy, because Nebraska can ill afford an injury to one of its key playmakers on offense or defense. I don't think this team has the depth to kind of withstand one of those big time injuries. So yes, you get away with this one, able to walk out on your own 2 feet, and I think that's so critical going into the last part of the season. Injuries can be kind of a lucky deal. Teams don't necessarily forecast playing without some of their best players, and Nebraska, to this point, knock on wood, has not had to deal with just a tough blow like they did last year when you lose. When you obviously lose a Taylor Martinez and you have to adjust with Tommy Armstrong. Nebraska really hasn't had to make that type of big adjustment. We talk about the depth, obviously lost at wide receiver, but really not that big blow to the depth chart yet. So Nebraska able to kind of contain the Rutgers ground game. I mean, yeah, I don't know. I go back and forth with that. Still gain 143 yards on the ground. That's 3.8 yards a carry. That's actually not a bad performance, but Bo Pelini definitely not pleased at the way that his team was able to handle some of those third and fourth down situations. Just weren't as stout as he wanted them to be. I think that's the biggest takeaway point. In a game where Rutgers loses its starting quarterback in the second quarter on a really stupid play, by the way. Why in the world was Rutgers trying to run out the clock, or not trying to run out the clock when there's, I think, 20 seconds, 30 seconds left, and they're on their own 5-yard line? Dirk Chatelain said it best. Why aren't you just kneeing and taking it into halftime? Made absolutely no sense. And that was, I thought, just a dumb injury, putting a quarterback in a situation like that where he's taking an unnecessary hit. So, I mean, Nebraska was able to capitalize, so to speak. Chris Laviano comes in for Gary Nova and did an okay job. Finishes the game with 54 yards rushing. He passed for 49 yards, but it just didn't necessarily have that consistency on offense Rutgers did to be able to put up a legitimate fight in this one. Never really felt like Nebraska was going to be out of just losing control of this one. Maybe early on in the second quarter, but other than that, you felt like they were pretty much in control. But if you're a Hub Territory fan, definitely some news. Kearney High's own Spencer Lindsay gets into his first game as a Nebraska Cornhusker. He had 3 kickoffs in this one, almost made a touchdown-saving tackle, actually forced the Rutgers returner out of bounds. He was probably mad at himself that he didn't. I don't think he got credit for the tackle on that one, but still a nice effort overall. He gets a touchdown in this, or a touchback, not a touchdown. He wished he got a touchdown. He gets a touchback in this one. And is working his way into the rotation. So that's definitely something to watch for. Jack Anguish still being one of those rotation guys. Still going to be one of those guys that's going to come in and give, whether it's Randy Gregory, Valentine, whoever it is, he's going to be able to give him a breather and be able to come in and provide this team with some energy. So I think that's kind of his role going forward. Unless you see another big injury to Randy Gregory, I don't think Gangwish is going to be one of those guys that's going to be relied on to take the majority of snaps. But still interesting to see him kind of involved in the game plan. So, yeah, interesting one here. Nebraska able to improve to 3-1 in the Big Ten. Has a game next week against Purdue. Will host the Boilermakers. That one should also be a rout. Just the home slate not very strong this year for the Huskers. So, yeah, for the Husker Rundown, this has been Connor O'Gara. Thanks, guys. See you next week.